Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Maria Espona with ArgIQ. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Sarah Marshall, Director, Data and Information Governance, Legal Compliance Security, BCLC. Welcome, Sarah, to our interview.
Hi, Maria. It's great to be here.
I prepared a series of questions for you. I hope it's fine. And I will ask you the first, and it's related to the leadership in data analytics. And I would like to know how you describe the profile of a data and analytics leader.
Yeah, Maria. Well, I think the profile of a data and analytics leader is really changing and quite rapidly. 10 years ago, I may have not had the opportunity to be a leader in this space as I don't fit the typical data and analytics career path. I started out my career on the business side in the banking industry, on the front line, giving out mortgages and investment advice to my clients. From there, I worked on some major system implementation projects as a business analyst, and then found myself in the IT team as a systems analyst. So really, I didn't come up through the typical or traditional data space. While deep technical expertise in the data space will always be valued, more and more I'm seeing the profile of a data leader become more oriented towards things like excellent communication skills, the ability to build strong relationships across the enterprise you're in, business acumen, the ability to understand and really understand what's driving the business in your company and the outcomes that your colleagues are trying to achieve and the problems that they're facing. To that end, the ability to translate between technical data and business folks in your organization and speak each of their respective languages. Funnily enough, I found storytelling and even a bit of marketing has become important because you need to be able to tell the story of how, in my case, taking the time and energy to undertake data governance and data management work is going to benefit your business colleagues, especially in this current business environment where our people are extremely busy and they have a ton on the go. And asking them to take on additional roles like that of maybe a business data steward is a big ask, but one that we know will ultimately benefit them. But you really need to be able to sell it. Finally, this is another one, is passion and energy for this work. Anyone watching this knows that we're at a time when data and analytics is really coming out from the shadows and into the limelight. Our people are inundated daily with the promises of what data can do. It's going to solve all our problems and you can implement it in 10 minutes flat without lifting a finger. I mean, we as data leaders need to help temper that hype cycle, but also bring our passion and energy to the table when people, both on our own teams, but also across business units in the organization, inevitably fall into that trough of disillusionment. The role of the data leader at this particular time, as things are changing and evolving so rapidly, I just think you really need to love what you do and believe in the promise of where we're headed. And luckily I do, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Yes, thank you for your answer. I really like what you say. And also, I think that, as you were saying, that you need passion, you need motivation to stimulate your clients and reduce their expectation about what they can really do. You need also to cope with this amazing revolution that we are living with artificial intelligence and all these new technologies that some people they want more, and others they are really, really scared.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put therapist in there too in the profile.
Yeah. Put coach.
Yeah, coaching.
Coaching. Yeah. So you answered already my question, that is, if all of this aspect that you just mentioned you learn at the university or by doing. I think it's more by doing.
Yeah. I mean, Maria, I don't know any university or college that teaches those intangible skills that make a leader, regardless of what industry or area of practice you're in, data and analytics included. Now, to be fair, it's been a long time since I've been at university, so maybe that has changed in the last 20 years, but I doubt it. I think my best advice for people, as you sort of mentioned, is to get out from behind the computer screen. Get away from your DIMs and your facts and your ETLs, Go spend time in the business and be curious. Meet people, talk to them. Make sure you really understand, as I had said, your company's operations and your colleagues' business objectives and what's holding them back from achieving them. If possible, spend some time in non-data related roles because it will always serve you to ensure that you're well-rounded in addition to being specialized in data and analytics, and especially as you move into leadership roles.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And there is a point that I would like to know what you think about the importance of data literacy in an organization. If you see it as a critical thing to improve the business or just
I think, data literacy is so important. If the people that we're serving up our reports and dashboards to can't read, work with, interpret, communicate, and my favorite, argue with the data we're presenting them, then what are we even doing, right? All of our work is for naught. And I know how hard data professionals in my organization, yours, in this whole industry are working. They are working so hard right now. And it would be tragic for all of us to be expending all of this effort to get the data into the hands of our colleagues, and then for them not to be able to derive any meaningful insights from it. The way that we as a workforce and as a society have become technologically literate over the past 20 to 30 years, so too do we now all need to become data literate. When I started working, if I had one little error message on my computer, I'd have to call up the help desk and get help. Fast forward to now, my granny can call me up on FaceTime without a second thought. No. That transition that we've all undergone with technology now needs to happen with data. And I'm extremely passionate about and proud to be part of enabling that transition for my organization.
So you are helping implementing a policy on data literacy in your organization?
Yeah, we're building out a data literacy program. And one of the key important things about that is everyone thinks, oh, it's training. And there is training and there is courses that will need to be developed and specialized by the various roles of people, whether you're a data expert or you're sort of a day-to-day person who might not touch data all that much, but everyone has a role to play. Everyone needs to become data literate. I think not only in our professional lives, but also in our personal lives, right? With what's happening with our data out there as consumers of other businesses, companies, corporations. But I think in addition to those courses, there's going to be a large component of on-the-job learning, right? Where you take on a role as a business data steward and you start doing the data management tasks and you become data literate through doing, not just through coursework.
I think it's important not only to learn in courses, but to practice, to implement what you are learning in your daily life. And I agree with you on not only in our work, but in our private life as well. Our privacy is critical. Our data, we don't know where they are. And that also take us to all these cybersecurity issues that are extremely relevant, and many people is not aware.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you were saying the importance of having all the different stakeholders in an organization aware of the data on data literate. What do you think about having the company strategy coupled with the data management one? Do you think they should? No?
Oh, yeah. I think it's absolutely critical, I would say. And I should mention that this alignment, making sure your sort of corporate strategy and your data and analytics strategy are aligned is not just a one-time thing where you take the two documents and you ensure that you can identify the linkages between them at a point in time. At my organization, the British Columbia Lottery Corporation, BCLC, we undertook a refresh of both our corporate strategy and our enterprise data strategy concurrently. Because we know that the ability to optimize and leverage data is a key pillar in realizing our strategic vision, and developing them at the same time really ensured that they were woven together. So this occurred over this past winter and spring into the early summer. And one of the key tenets that was explicitly stated in and underpins that enterprise data strategy is that data is a business asset, not a technology asset. It is a business asset. And as such, we had key business stakeholders co-author the data strategy with us for the first time in our organization. They served as the subject matter experts in terms of translating those strategic business objectives from the corporate strategy into the data and analytics needs that they require to execute on their objectives. So from there, we worked with them to develop a set of what we are calling business-driven data priorities. And those, combined with some key data culture shifts that comprise our data vision, those are our marching orders on the data side in terms of developing this data strategy. So in that way, the enterprise data strategy was informed by the corporate strategy from its inception. And the end result, as I said, is that they're inextricably linked. I just like, I can't.
These are the kind of meetings that you would like to be a flight to be there and see how they communicate.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine the challenge of going from the business strategy to the data and make the people talk to each other and understand each other and build a product together.
Exactly. And Maria, like in our organization and hopefully in yours, gone are the days when a data strategy is developed in a vacuum in the IT department, right? And that it's exclusively focused on data platforms or modernizing data warehousing or data pipelines. In fact, this new data strategy that we've come out with is far more weighted towards the non-technical elements of data and analytics. Building out our cloud data platform and migrating the data from on-prem into the cloud, that was already well underway when we began authoring the strategy. What was not underway was a deliberate push towards defining and building out a data culture where data is recognized and managed as the strategic enterprise asset it is, and all of the key non-technical components that come with that, such as like data ethics, data literacy, organizational change management for the whole organization, those kinds of things, data roles and responsibilities and accountabilities across the enterprise, giving those formal roles and responsibilities to business stakeholders and upskilling them in all things data. Really, the whole point of this one is to bring data to the masses and help everyone in the organization, even if they don't have the word data in their title, understand that they too have a role to play as data citizens, which is a term that we've borrowed from our good friends at Calibra.
That's super cool. And I think that having this data-driven decision-making process and organization, it helps to achieve the goals in a more sustainable way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is going to be a fun one to implement now, right? Like this is the next generation. We kind of got the technical stuff in hand. I mean, it is rapidly changing, as we said before. There is work to be done. There is migration to be done. But this is really the fun part where we as data professionals get to go out into the business and start to bring them into our world and cross-pollinate more. And I'm really excited about that.
Well, I can tell, and I'm glad that you are going through this fantastic experience. And I hope that people that watch this interview can learn from you, because you are communicating so many key points that it helps to understand the whole process and where you started and when you want to go and what to expect for the future. So it's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And regarding this, you mentioned some of the steps. And do you think that with your new policy, your new strategy, it's possible to build easily a roadmap to implement the different strategic goals?
I think, it's easy to build the roadmap. We'll talk about implementation.
Well, that's another thing.
So once we had two key components defined from the outset, which we did with our business stakeholders. We defined our desired target data culture, and then we developed those business-driven data priorities that I had mentioned. And once we had those established, That was our vision. That's our sort of target, what we're working towards. From there, we, the data folks, went away and we defined the data capabilities and the target operating model that we would need in order to build that data culture and deliver on those business data priorities. From there, we broke the work to stand up the operating model and either establish or mature those. There were 31 data capabilities that we identified. We grouped those into 16 initiatives, 16 data initiatives in our strategy, and then we plotted them onto a 3-year implementation roadmap. And we just got our approval to get cracking on that a couple weeks ago. So yeah, our next 3 years are going to be really exciting, and we're sort of focused and, put in the right direction and looking forward to executing and delivering now.
I think that it will be a nice case study to read in the future.
Yeah.
Now you write and prepare all the concept that I think it's fantastic, and then we will see in the future how all it goes or went.
Yeah.
And I think that the passion that you transmit, it's fantastic. It's stimulating. It's like, may I join your team? It's like it's super, and we need more in the data community of these personalities like yours. I think that they are highly stimulating and break this silo with the IT data people, like they are more nerdy, and the business people doing something different. I think you are bridging that gap, and it's fantastic.
That's what I hope. Yeah, that's what I love to do.
You are for sure. And finally, my last question is about, because we mentioned the strategy, we mentioned data literacy, all the priorities. How do you see this in a context of the data governance framework to manage risk? And if you have a role if you identify a role to play in the quality management?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as a data governance leader specifically, whose mandate is to develop and implement a data governance practice at my organization, I'm obviously a bit biased, and I think it's extremely important. Having said that, even prior to me arriving at my company, BCLC, about 3.5 years ago, data-related risks were being handled. However, it was more at a grassroots, ad hoc, informal, inconsistent manner. Data governance provides that much needed structure to the process, right? Visibility, accountability, decision-making, and some assurance that our defensive risk mitigation side of our data practice is being balanced with the offensive and strategic aspirations of our business. Data governance provides a mechanism by which those often competing objectives can be taken into consideration and weighted against each other to come to the right decision for our organization. In regards to data quality, of course, it's a very important component to managing data risk. Obviously, there's a huge cost to running your operations with poor data, but also beyond just the day-to-day operations, there's the insights and analytics component, whereby people throughout our company are making critical tactical and strategic decisions based on the reporting and analytics and data they're receiving. We're pretty fortunate here at BCLC to have a very high proportion of long-standing employees who have deep knowledge and expertise in our industry and in our operations. So they often intuitively know and can catch when the numbers are off and don't look right. And thus, they're quite unlikely to blindly make decisions based on what some report is telling them if it doesn't look right. But still, having a handle on data quality is absolutely critical to several aspects of our business, including regulatory reporting, and especially as we start to move towards more automated decision-making technologies where it may not have the human eyes on it.
Yeah, it's like going to the 60s when the people start to work with databases and they said, why we get these funny results?
Yeah.
And data quality emerged, and now because of a different process, we are getting the same situation. So, wow, great. So thank you, Sarah. It was a pleasure to meeting you and to share that you shared your knowledge with me. It's fantastic, and with the audience. So thank you, Sarah, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
Thanks, Maria. Great talking to you.
Thank you.